If you or your users are not using multi-factor authentication (MFA) in your AWS environment, then you and your company might be the next big hack in the news. Your company could lose millions of dollars, if not billions, if you have not properly secured your AWS account. This is Undiluted Tech, and today we are going to explore how to secure your AWS account. Let's begin. By the end of this video, you'll be able to set a custom password, write an IAM policy to enforce MFA, and learn AWS best practices to secure your AWS account. Let's start by checking if Adam, our fictitious user, if they have permissions to assign MFA to themselves. At the top of the screen, click the drop-down arrow, then click Security Credentials. As you can see, our user Adam has no permissions to assign an MFA device to himself, as indicated by the highlighted portion of the page. You can use the AWS Management Console to create, change, or delete a custom password policy. To create a custom password policy, sign in into AWS Management Console as an admin user and go to IAM. In the navigation pane, choose Account Settings. In the Password Policy section, choose Change Password Policy. Select the options that you want to apply to your password policy and then choose Save Changes. If you are satisfied with your selections, it's time to move on to our IAM policy. Now let's take a look at our IAM policy that I've already created, and it's the one that we are going to use to force our users to use MFA. Always good to check the version of your policy, since not having it could cause issues. The first statement we will check is the Allow Account Info. What this does, it allows the users to view details about a virtual MFA device that is enabled for the user. These permissions must be in its own statement because they do not support specifying a resource "an". Instead, you must specify all resources by applying the asterisk in the action section resource. This statement includes the following actions that allow the user to view specific information. If we take a look at the action statements, we get the Get Account Summary. This helps the user to view the account ID and the account canonical user ID. We get the Get Account Password Policy. This allows the password requirements while changing their own IAM user password. We have List Virtual MFA Devices. This allows the user to view details about an MFA device that is enabled for them. The Allow Manage Own Password statement allows the user to change their own password. This statement also includes the Get User action, which is required to view most of the information on the Security Credentials page. The Allow Manage Own Access Keys statement allows the user to create, update, and delete their own access keys. The Allow Manage Own Sign-in Certificate statement allows the user to upload, update, and delete their own sign-in certificates. The Allow Manage Own SSH Public Keys statement allows the user to upload, update, and delete their own SSH public keys for code commit. The allow manage on Git credentials statement allows a user to create, update, and delete their own Git credentials for code commit. The allow manage on virtual MFA device statement allows a user to create and delete their own virtual MFA device, which is what we're trying to do today. The resource earned in this statement allows access to only an MFA device that has the same name as the current signed-in user. Users can create or delete any virtual MFA devices other than their own. The allow manage on user MFA statement allows a user to view or manage the virtual MFA, U2F, or hardware MFA devices for their own user. The resource earned in this statement allows access to only the user's own IAM user. Users can't view or manage the MFA devices for other users. Last but not least, the deny all exception list if no MFA statement denies access to every action in all AWS services except a few listed actions, but only if the user is not signed in with MFA. The statement uses a combination of deny and not action to explicitly deny access to every action that is not listed. The items listed are not denied or allowed by this statement. However, the actions are allowed by other statements in the policy. So that's our policy. Of course, you can add to this or remove depending on your own environment requirements. I encourage you to look at AWS documentation for more information. Now let's put all this together and implement our solution. Go to the console and then go to IAM. On the navigation pane, go to Policies, Create Policy, then click on JSON. Now paste the policy we created. You can find this policy in our GitHub link in the description below. Click next to tag the policy. Here, I am using the key purpose and the value as MFA or force MFA. Click next to review and let's name our policy. We're going to name it MFA users and then we're going to add a description. This is not mandatory, but it's always good to do so for the next person after you. Finally, click Create Policy, and our policy is done. To assign this policy to users or groups, and we are going to use groups in our case, click on Groups and create a group. In our case, we are naming it MFA Users. To attach our policy, click the drop-down next to the policy type and select Customer Managed. Then select the policy we just created. Click Next, and finally click Create Group. Now let's add users to the group. Click on Users. Select the users or user in question, click on Groups, and then add them to the group we just created. You can also go to Groups, select the group you want to add to your users, then click on Add Users to Group or Remove Users from Group if you so wish. Then select users that you want to add. After that, at the top of the page, click on the drop-down arrow, then select Sign Out, and let's have Adam try again to set up MFA. Just like we did before, go to Credentials page, and this time Adam has permissions to assign MFA. Click on Assign an MFA. Here, select the type of MFA device you have, and in our case, we will select Virtual MFA device. I am using free OTP for my Virtual MFA. Click Continue. Click Show QR Code. Scan the QR code. Enter 2 MFA codes and then click Assign MFA, and voila, a success message is displayed. This is your MFA earn in case you need it. For example, if you need to set up a CLI. Now let's test this by logging out and logging back in. As you can see, our user Adam was able to successfully assign a virtual MFA to himself and was able to log in successfully as well. Well, this has brought us to the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and give this video a thumbs up if it was beneficial to you. To see a detailed written version of this tutorial, visit our blog at undilutedtech.com, or you can visit our Patreon page and become a Patreon at patreon.com/undilutedtech. God bless you, and see you in the next one.